Alright, welcome back everybody to a special video here. Today we have Life is Feudal Forest Village. This has always been one of my favorite games to play. Definitely takes away a lot of your time, for sure. It's basically Banished, but for me it's a better version. I've always liked Life is Feudal Forest Village way better than Banished. But any other similar games is basically the same. So I'm just gonna run through it. 2024, 2025 by the time you guys are seeing this. This game is super old, but if you're looking for a city builder that's super depthy, then here we go. So just start a new game after you do the tutorial if you want to. Obviously, you can do any of these names. You can do any random map as well. You can just keep scrolling through all these and just see what you want. I always do kind of small, maybe normal or large, you know, whatever you really want. But I'm gonna do my best to show you guys how to like get started and play if you're new and you're still wanting to figure it out, or even if you want to get back into the game. I always do plains because hills and mountains is just way too annoying. The terraforming takes way too long. I personally always start off with houses and not doing disasters at all because sometimes this game is hard enough without disasters, and then just mild climate. So you can over here select where you want to start. I always suggest doing somewhere near the coast, only because fish is the best food production resource in the game, and I will get into why. I'm going to go through everything as quick as I can, but as efficient as I can. So doing the mouse scroll wheel, I just scroll wheel. I'm zooming out, and then you can turn it with right click here. So I'm going to go ahead and pause. You can skip ahead further and increase game speed, I think up to 4. So this is our little village right here, as you can see, and then at the top right you can take off these things just however you want to play, but this is everything that we are working with here. Got a whole map, and we just got this little village here, which it sucks where we started because it looks like there's a lot of terraforming to do to get out of this little nook and cranny here. But we'll get started with this little tab. So this has all of the things. So village info, you can see it's pulled up. Event log is there. Profession, I always keep this open. I want to see, be able to control and see where everybody's going. So right now we have 6 total people, and you want to, you know, employ them wherever you need to. Now, usually, a lot of the time, unfortunately, we did not get that this time. We have a field already in place for us. So this one is going to be difficult. But these are all of our total resources up here at the top left. Now you can do resource limit. You don't really need to ever worry about that until later in the game. You'll worry about that. Minimap, you can keep that open or not. Tips, you can go through all the tips to help you, which is basically why you're possibly watching this video. There's definitely a lot of them, but we'll go through all of it a little bit quicker. You can deconstruct a building here. But as you see, this little house icon, so you start with a villager that does not have a house. So definitely the first things that you need to worry about are always food, houses, and firewood. So in order to have firewood, you need wood in general. But right now we have a good amount of food. We have 900 bread, 700 fish. So instead of having us a field, they gave us just a bunch of bread to get us through the winter. Because right now we are in spring, but it does go by very fast. So you can terraform just by yourself, but when you build things on an area, it will automatically terraform for you. But yeah, this starting spot really sucks. I'm actually gonna switch it so we can get a little bit of a better. Let's see if that will be better for us to kind of give you guys a little. No, that's even worse. I mean, look at that. That's crazy. But yes, you definitely want, okay, we'll start a little bit back here maybe for one. We'll just see. If this doesn't give it to us, then whatever. Okay, yeah, still not. But most of the time they'll give you a field if you're lucky enough. So, right here, this little tab is resource gathering. So what you can do is after everybody, so all 6 of these workers, they're always going to be doing whatever needs to be done, but these are specifically builders, fishermen, goes through every single thing here. So what you can do, collect all resources. So you can collect all resources, or you can go through each and every one that you need. I just do always collect all. I zoom out, and what you can do, just click and drag, and look at all these resources that are right here, just in this small little area. And just let go, and they'll do that. So as you can see, everything is marked of what they're going to be collecting. Now that's going to take up a ton of time. So don't worry about redoing that again. Now trees will regrow, everything else will not. So once you take out all these trees like right in this little area, it won't necessarily regrow right there, but they will, you know, come up automatically. Now houses, again, we can see somebody is homeless right now, so you do need to build a house for them. One, so they can live, they can eat, and they can get warm. And 2, so they can obviously create more babies. So unless you have a house, you can't do any of those things. Now you can do any type of house, a hut, a shack, a small house, or a regular house, or a hostel. So my biggest one is I always go for the small houses. They are the best as far as resource wise, but also gets you the most out of everything. And you can put them wherever. Anything bigger than a small house, I honestly don't suggest. Now, anything smaller, I kind of do just in certain areas, you know, like if foresters are way out there. Usually the AI is pretty good about having the people move or them switching professions to be whatever is closer. Now, storage rooms, you already start with, so you will eventually need more. You will stack up resources and you will stack up food at some point. To where you'll have to build another, but right now it's definitely not important. So the biggest thing, like I said up here, you need firewood, which also means you need wood, and then you also need food. And we can build a house real quick as well. But the best food, because you can get it year round, is fish, whether that's the fisherman's lodge or the fish farm. Now I prefer the fish farm is better, but sometimes you have to adjust it. I always struggle with how close it is, and sometimes it just doesn't work, and you have to build, you know, required bridge pass. So you have to be aware of that. So just if it's not working, that is why you have to build some bridges and stuff around it so then they can get to it. But fish year-round is great. Now you can, let's say I don't want somebody taking whatever resource, I can double-click and it'll lock it. So nobody will take those meat. I can double-click the fish. Nobody is going to be allowed to take the fish until I unclick it. And then you have Gatherer's Hut. Now Gatherer's Hut is okay. It's nothing crazy. They're just going to gather fruits and vegetables in the area, and it is unfortunately in an area. The area is decently large, but it's, you know, they're not going to be able to save their whole all of your people. Hunting cabin, same thing. Hunting cabin actually will get you the hides that you need to build clothes. So they are either killing animals for meat or they're killing animals for the hide right here. So they do a little bit of both. So again, that's not so great to keep you alive as far as food. Orchard, do not build the orchard. That will take absolutely forever. So you have to plant the trees, wait for the trees to grow, water them. It takes about a few seasons for the orchard to really get going, so do not do that early. Now your biggest and best thing is the field. So the field is pretty instant. Make sure you have a water source around it. So somewhere there is a well. we'll find that in a little bit, but just make sure a well is around it. It's not a huge deal, but just, you know, you can always build one. It's not a big problem there to just build a well at some point near the anything really. Crypt, there we go, it's a well. And it's not that many resources either. But the field is the best, so you can grow vegetables is the only food, but you can grow flax, you can grow oats as well, which is good for chickens, which we'll get into that later. You can grow a couple other things. You can grow this hay because hay, you only have so much and you can only gather so much out here too. There's not a lot of it, so definitely have a few fields. Now, apiary is obviously just bees and getting honey. So everything, literally all of this stuff, except the fisherman so far, is only during like the spring, summer months and fall. Once it gets cold, your gatherer's hut, I believe, still, maybe not. I don't think the gatherer's hut does anything. I think the hunting cabin still does because there's animals around. The orchard does not. The fields do not. The apiary does not. The chicken coop is forever. It's just obviously running around the chicken coop, and that's a great. If you can get the chicken coop going, I wouldn't suggest it first thing because it does take a little bit, but once you do, the eggs and meat that you'll get from that is insane. And then the windmill is a whole lot of resources, and honestly, it's the windmill and the bakery is just kind of later once you really get everything going. Again, I don't suggest that early in the game. Biggest thing again, get fish because that's year round. You can bring in food year round. You will go through this food and firewood very quickly. So you got this game usually gives you about a year's worth of resources essentially to survive. Like if you don't you should be able to get through the first winter with no problem overall. But then after that, it's really just up to you. So be sure to pay attention to everything first. So resources, you can get Forester's Lodge, which you'll need. You'll need wood. Lumberjack's Lodge is going to be getting you the firewood, I believe. Carpenter's Kiln, Weaver. So just creating. So for the mines, you do and don't need. You need to build them, but again, it's not super important at first. But all of these resources, so you're going to need the firewood because each house, as you see, has a ton of food and a ton of firewood. So they start with a good amount just because it's the very beginning of the game. But you're going to need that because they'll go through it very quickly, all of it. These other things are a little bit less important. So school, eventually, tavern you can do. Herbalist hut and healer's shop, I highly recommend. Now again, not very early in the game, but I have gone through so many games where I'm doing great and then a disease breaks out and I don't have a herbalist hut or a healer's shop and then everybody's pretty much dead. So don't be dumb, eventually do it. You don't have to do it early. It'll take a couple years for that to ever even happen if it does. But yeah, so you need wood for firewood, which we don't have a firewood person, so I'm going to just do a little bit. So it'll tell you right here, if you can read it, firewood production in order to keep houses heated during cold seasons. So number of workers is 3. So you can adjust it. So let me go ahead. So that's going to be there. So you can adjust how many people, current and maximum amount of people working in the building. So you can't increase it, you can only decrease. So I can make only 1 person forever working that. I can make the max, which is 3, working that, but this is the resources that it costs, which it told you. So now you see over here, there's 0 for 3 working this. So I can add everybody over there. It will only do the 3, but you know, we can go ahead and play that, and then they'll start building it, as we'll eventually see. But everybody else, these 3 people are going to be hitting all of these stones and everything like that, so they're dropping the resources there. And then these mines, so you don't really need these early because you're good. The blacksmith shop for tools. Tools are definitely needed. It definitely helps you get through things building quicker. Roads are very, very good, very useful, but as soon as you go through to the paved ones, it costs you 1 stone per tile, which is a lot. I mean, if you see that, that's a tile right there. So just to get from there to there is probably about 20. So that's a lot of stone going out, so definitely do not do that anytime early. Um, let's see, what else do we have? Go through all these resources. Weaver shop, so this will give you clothes. So you need, I believe, flax and wool for that. A kiln gets you charcoal, so it turns the firewood into charcoal, which is better, but again, it's not super needed. Okay, so this is not done yet, almost there. So you can just keep that open and tab it somewhere else, which I honestly like. Furnace again. It's just basically getting you new and better tools. Okay, so let's pause right here. So this can do firewood. Eventually you can upgrade it to do charcoal as well, I believe. But for every 1 wood, you get 3 firewood. That's what that means right there, and it takes about a minute and a half almost to do that. So, as you can see here, this went back down to 0. So you can take those 3 people off because they're not going to be doing anything except everybody is good. Nobody's going to be doing nothing. If they don't have a job to do, they will just do the markings that you did, which is why I said always do resource gathering as much as possible, even if you're doing it further out a little bit, just to keep people busy. But now you see, where is it? Oh, right here at the very bottom. So 0 out of 3 people working the Lumberjack's Lodge. So I can max out the 3 if I want. This early in the game, I would not do that, but you will need to. Lumberjack's Lodge, you have to keep at least somebody working there year-round, period. Otherwise, you will freeze to death. Everybody will. But other than that, yeah, it's just be very mindful about what you're building early on. Get some decent food going, so you don't have to ration or anything, which you don't have any choice of that, but so nobody gets hungry. So again, this person, you can click on them, you can even be them, and do things that way, but it's not efficient. I mean, it is, but it's not anything crazy. So we would need a house for that person, but it will tell you. So let's see. So if we do a small house, medium living space, get warm, above average pregnancy, which is what you want, and then, excuse me, capacity is 5. So you can upgrade everything. So I can, not everything, okay, but I can sit here and upgrade this. Tells you how many it is to upgrade, improve small living space, have an extra bedroom, average pregnancy chance, and then increases its capacity. So right now it's 3. You can have 4 residents, increase happiness, and, you know, average pregnancy. Which I believe the shack is less than that. Low pregnancy, yeah. So it'll increase the pregnancy chances, which is what you want, and then capacity, which is also what you want. But everything, you really just have to manage all your people. It's honestly not hard as long as you are alright in the beginning. So again, first thing you build some form of house to at least get that person into a home. Then you want food, which I suggest doing one of the fisherman things. I would also suggest doing the field in the beginning as well, because the first season you might not really get anything out of it, but you will get some. And then after that you can kind of increase, you can get hunters and gatherers. Now the animals that are in this game, so there are bears and wolves, they will never harm your people. The wolves will kill your chickens. That's all you have to worry about. So have, if you do build a chicken coop, have a hunter's lodge hunting cabin near them, and then they'll protect them. So that's no big deal. But other than that, like I hope this helped for everybody. Obviously, some of this later stuff like pies and everything is just gonna be later building resources like the bakery and windmill and everything. But you do, I believe, have to have certain resources for all of that. So yeah, wood, logs, stone ore, clay, and hay are all just normal resources you can find out here, but also mines as well. And then firewood and charcoal, super important, have that going. Fish is annoying because it's slow, but it's the year-round resource, so do that as much as you can. Meat is nice, but not always the easiest until you really get the chicken coop going if you build one. Obviously, you can build whatever you want. And then milk is super late game. It'll take you a long time before you get some of these resources. Eggs, between eggs and meat with coop, that will be helpful. The fruit is gathering hut or the orchard, but the orchard takes, I'm telling you, it takes too long. Do not do it early. The honey is okay. It's nothing crazy. Again, it's not year round either, so you gotta be a little mindful of what you're producing. Now, don't get me wrong, if you start out with a field on a map, they'll get through a good chunk and get you a lot of vegetables and still get you through. And vegetables are honestly the most consistent grouping because they'll get you a lot from depending on how big you build the field. But again, it's only like one, big giant group a year, and you have to hope that holds you. Bread, again, a little bit later. They start you off with some every single time. All of these pies and everything are a little bit later as well. Now, grain and flour and alcohol and stuff is all different. You have to adjust that with what you're building on the field. And also what you're producing as far as windmills and bakeries and everything like that. The oats here are something that you do in a field, and you can adjust the crops. So let me just, I'll just show you a field real quick. So I'm just going to do that. Okay, that's going to take a minute. But that's how many people can work that field right there. That's 12, which is a fuck ton. I should not have done it that big. Oh no, JK. That is not how many people. Okay, we'll take that off, put them all over here. You can increase, I believe you can increase building and gathering priority. So you can do that here. So bottom left, building priority increased. If you want something, more than another. You can also pause it. If you want somebody to stop working on that area. And then all of these other ones, you're just not going to be able to do that early. It's going to be a little difficult for those things to work. Crypt and Pyre is not that big of a deal. Tavern is not. School is definitely decent. The port is late game. Castle, you can do whatever if you really want to go medieval times. Pavement, like I said, is okay. Roads are better than pavement. But aside from that, just keep up with food. Watch your food. It's all up here. You can lock something, like I said, if you need to. You will eventually need tools. Tools are super nice. Definitely helps the building process go way faster. You start with high quality, and then it'll be hard to, not hard, but it'll take a minute to get past that. You'll have primitives for a while. Same with clothing. Have everybody have clothes. Eventually you can get some cast iron and steel to help with some of the tools as well. But the oats, nobody eats or does anything with except the chickens. I believe eventually your alcohol tavern will use them, as well as um, some other items for the alcohol, but that's not really a priority. Um, so in order for the chickens to work, you need the oats. You need an oat field. So definitely have a few fields of doing, definitely doing your vegetables. Have some oats if you have chickens, because you'll need it to feed them. And then you will also need flax here as well, and you'll need hay as well. Now, hay is not a huge deal. It's pretty easy to get. I think usually um, you get about 2 runs a year of hay, depending on how big you do it. But also, as you can see, there's stuff in the way. So there are clearing the area, there's terraforming the area, there's how many resources you need, and then there's these extra resources here that are on this area that they will have to take out, and then how much building. So we are super low here. So as we see down here at the bottom left, child McKenna has grown up and is ready to study. So you can obviously have a school that increases how quickly they become an adult, essentially, and the work that they do as far as production wise. And then we will see at some point that they'll be, okay, that child has grown up to be an adult, and then you'll have an increased person up here. So yeah, just be sure you're getting everything you need, especially once it goes from fall to winter and things like the field, the apiary, and all this stuff is no longer useful, which it will tell you for the most part. Some of it is a little bit learning what comes in and comes out. It doesn't always tell you. So just be sure you're being mindful of that and what's actually being worked on year-round. Hopefully this long guide helped you a little bit, but eventually it will all change for you and you'll be able to see who's actually doing what. I should not have done this field so big. Hey, what's going on, Becca? It's been a minute. How have you been? But yeah, you just got to keep up with where you want everybody. Now, obviously, I can't increase this anymore because all 6 people are working on this area. And it's going to be a little bit of time. So I guess I can increase this. Make it go by quicker for everybody. I feel you, I feel you. Busy, busy. How was your Thanksgiving? You ready for Christmas already? Yeah, this is gonna be a minute for sure. But let's see what else we can do and talk about. Yeah, so it'll say this question mark. Obviously, nobody is working there. That guy is still homeless and hungry, but he's hungry because he doesn't have a house. But I'm hoping we can get this done. Oh, dang. Well, I appreciate you coming in. Hopefully the car fixing goes well for you. Hopefully it gets fixed up so you can get going. I know that sucks. But I appreciate you coming through. So, as we just saw, she died because she starved to death because she did not have a home. So, like I said, build a home. Again, first things you do, build a home, build a few things of food. You don't have to get super crazy in the beginning, but a little bit, build a fisherman's wharf and you'll survive the first one. Build this field and build a house, at least one. Even if it's not a full house, build a hut, build a shack. These are shacks, so they're not anything, crazy. The huts are literally just like little tents, basically, but they work. This is almost done. But as far as like hostel and regular house, you don't really need to do it. It's a little much, honestly. Obviously, it increases the capacity and increases the pregnancy chance for sure, which is great, but it costs way too many resources, in my opinion. I mean, look at that. So 20, 60, 20, 20. And it goes to clay instead. The wood goes up 300. The ore goes up 120, and then the stone goes up 160. To me, that's not worth it. I'd rather have a bunch of houses around, small houses around, sorry, and going with that. So we're almost done with this, so I can show you. I'm sorry it's taken so long. I should have done this earlier, or maybe had it not be so fucking big. But the apiary and the coop does the same. So you just drag and go. And then the fish, same thing, so you can rotate it to make sure you have it right. It's just R. Cannot build in this area, so it has to be a certain spot, and then you can go. Alright, so it is here. So let's pause this, and then we will be done with the video. So, gotta choose what you want here. This drop-down menu, choose. So you can do flax, which let me play. Okay, you can't see it. So this is flax. You can do grass, which is wheat, or hay, I'm sorry. You can do oats, which are these. You can do, oh wait, what the fuck is grass? Wheat is, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Wheat will be flour, right? I think that's right. I might be wrong. Okay, yeah. So that will be grain. Okay. And then potatoes, obviously, is what you really want, for the most part. So you can adjust that. Most things do have drop-down menus. So if it's not that field, even these, you'll eventually get to charcoal, and everything like that. So appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully this helped. I know it was a lot longer than I anticipated. If you have any questions, it's been a long time since I played with this game. You'll be busy for hours. The time goes by super quick, super fun, pretty depthy. Definitely can build a crazy world here. If you see up at the top, I mean, we got all this space. And I believe this is just either a small or a normal. It does suck with this terraform, so you can obviously keep going and choosing different lands and everything like that. So that one would be probably a little bit better. Sometimes you have to move so it's not so terraformed because it does suck not starting off with the field. So yeah, this one is not much better. So this is a bear. He's not going to do anything. He does go into the honey. I'm not sure if they actually steal the honey or not. But they will eat it. But wolves are not going to attack your people. They'll just kill the chickens. But hopefully this helped everybody. And we'll see you guys in another video. If you guys want me to build a whole world here, we can definitely do that. Feel free to follow me on stream on Twitch down in the description. We can build it together. Or obviously you can tell me in the comments if you guys want that as well. But appreciate you guys being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Alright, let's play some goddamn Marvel Rivals now. Have yet to play it. It was a much longer video than I anticipated.